Folks, it's time to start on this whitewater pinball. So I started working on the headboard. I am slowly removing parts. I'm taking tons of pictures as well because there's tons of connectors and other bits and things that go here and there. So I'm just taking pictures as I go. Every time I remove a connector, I'm just taking a picture of where it goes. But so I'm going to disconnect the headboard so it connects to those bolts here to here to here. It's fixed on this that pivots to bring the headboard down. Disconnected all the insides already, and you can see this guy, how badly this is warped. Actually, yeah, look at that. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to have to remake that at some point. I'm actually considering remaking this guy as well, because that's just a piece of wood, and wouldn't be a bad thing just to have fresh, clean wood. Get to clean everything. The main board assembly, I'm going to disconnect. All these boards are disconnected now, but I'm going to take them off and clean that metal plate, because look at the back of it. And the rust is going to just seep through and probably affect the board if it hasn't already. I can see some of the MOSFETs or transistors have screws here of traces of rust. I'm going to have to clean all that as well. But for now, I'm that close to disconnecting everything, so I've just let the wires there. I'm going to pull out this guy. Can I actually disconnect this guy as well? Yeah, I'm going to have to pull him out altogether, but not for now. I'm going to just slide it back, disconnect the headboard, and then I'll be able to store that aside and work on it. Try and put this somewhere. I'm going to make a trolley as well. I want to make a trolley, so maybe after disconnecting the headboard and before I work on anything, I'm going to make a trolley on wheels where I can put this at sort of because this is a bit too high. I want it slightly lower so I can work on it comfortably. So let's do that. But yeah, it's not as bad as I thought. Well, it looks bad, but I mean a lot of it can be cleaned. Just have to make this. It has bulged so much. It must have been left outside or in a very, very damp space. So we're gonna make a back plate to this. Not sure does this cut or anyway. Let's keep working. Oh, the other thing I recommend is storing everything in little box, actually containers. All the screws for different areas. So here is all the screws that were taken from this board here. Here is all the stuff from the light assembly to reconnect it. And I'll do the same for the headboard. Let's keep working. Right, so I got the box down. This is actually the bottom. It should be like that. It's kind of funny looking at the pin without its headbox. But I got all the bits out and all these screws saved. Pretty much every screw is here except one for here. It should be the same one as this. So I'm gonna probably not now. This should go here, but I will steep them in vinegar for a while. See if I can get that rust, all these bars, and then start working on them. But first, I just want to finish that box and just make that new back for it. So I'm gonna continue just removing as much as I can all the metal bars and all the fittings and stuff like that. I'm going to remove those corner stuff as well so I can clean them properly and then take this down. Okay, let's keep working. There's another piece of metal here. There's this bar here that I need to just clean and respray, and then I'll take these corners and see if I can get this out of here. Alright, so I've got the box here all stripped. There's no metal except for this ground thing, but I'll remove that in time. There was actually this was broken here. Sorry, come on. And there's actually, they wedge into each other. But here it was actually breaking around, so I'm just fixing it with a solid Gorilla Glue. Shouldn't touch it with my fingers. But anyway, and here I have all the metals, bits and stuff ready to go into a bath of not Jack Daniels, but vinegar. So I'm gonna pour vinegar all over this. I'm just gonna check I don't have any more metal. These will be treated separately in a larger container. Yeah, this guy actually doesn't look too hot. See if I can detach it and then remove it, and then clean this separately. Okay, let's do it. Last update for the day. So I made a small trolley on wheels. I think the wheels are probably a bit too small for it. Tiny little wheels, but it's just well, it just made this in about, I don't know, half an hour, just quickly, so I could actually just move this around easily and move in and out of the way. The other thing is, so I have here actually, I spotted another, this corner here as well needed some glue, so this is over there and here. I have a piece of wood and it's the right thickness, but it's too narrow, so I'm gonna need to get just a bigger sheet of wood somewhere. Although this piece might actually be suitable for the changing that warped one, but actually looking at it, no, it's too thin. This is too thin. This over there is much thicker. So I need to get one of these, which is the right thickness and should be wide enough and long enough. But for here, and I don't want to do anything until I replace this to size. So that's the job. Tomorrow get a piece of wood that's big enough, and then cut it to size, put it back, and start cleaning the inside. Actually, I might clean and sand this part before I put it back. I put the back plate, and then I have all the metals. I'm gonna leave it outside in the shade, but it's kind of bubbling already. Let me see if I can switch on the light here. You can see it's already bubbling. I mean, this is working here, not so much, but these parts had a lot more rust than anything else. In fact, I could actually pour everything in the same thing, but I'm trying to separate big bolts, small screws, and just metal plates in different sections. So we'll leave that a day. It's going to be sunny tomorrow, so it should be a lot of heat created under here, and it'll speed up the process. Alright, so day 2 of working on this headboard. As you can see, I've made my back plate, drilled the holes here. So essentially this is this plate here. Still, one thing I will have to do is to just replace this guy. I actually forgot him to take it off, so I'm gonna do that after, but it's all there. I'm gonna have to measure exactly where it goes. So it's being glued and clamped pretty much every possible angle, and I'm chilling with a lovely glass of wine now. But this is the back plate. Once that's back in place, well, I've already started cleaning all the metal bits. Remember, all these were very, very badly rusted, and they've actually cleaned up pretty well. Some of them are a bit more pitted than others. You can see this here. Come on, I could sand this down, but it's really mostly cosmetic. I've got the rust out, and this is actually going to go against the corner, so this side will be visible. It's still traces of pitting, but it doesn't matter. I'm actually going to cover them as well in just clear varnish, so just to seal them, so hopefully the rust won't come back. But I've most of the metal plates done. Come on, focus. I still have all the bolts and all the screws to do after that. But what I'm doing, I'm just using a vinegar bath, and I'm just sanding the rust down roughly with this sander. And for the one that were the most crusty, like this guy, I'm using just my bench grinder. Sometimes if it's flat, I can actually use it on the side. You can see the rust that's accumulated, and then just to finish them and go into the tiny crevices. I'm just using this wire brush. I'm not clamping or on the vise, but I'm just sitting it on the vise so it doesn't move side to side. You kind of have to be careful because it can actually just go sideways. So sometimes I just use a rope around here. It's just to keep it in place. It'll be better if I had a proper setup for this, but if you have a vise and a drill, it's a handy trick. Just don't clamp it because you'll compress the motor. So yeah, that's what I've done so far. I need to take out that other plate that's at the back because I forgot that, and leave that to soak overnight and tomorrow, and then I'll do that afterward. I'm sort of sorry I can't keep all this original work, but I can't really do much about that. Look at this, it's all broken and just so swollen and warped in every direction. And in fact, I discovered that the head had warped a tiny bit because all these angles were square. I checked them, they were actually just the right size, but when it came to having to put it in, I had to just use a bit of persuasion, so the head is now back straight and square. And gonna wait overnight before I remove the clamps for the glue to dry. Alright, so day 3. Is it day 3? I think it is day 3 update. But the box here is all done. Well done. I got the back in place. So I used plywood instead of that chipboardy stuff. I've redone all the holes here. And used the other thing as a template and just measure everything. I've made my markers as well, but the board is going to go here. The other corner is here, and then there was a couple more things that needed markers, so I just made those on the other side as well, where holes are being drilled, so everything matches. And then, well, this was done yesterday. Really, I just unclamped and just tidied and clean. But this evening or today was essentially just spent, as you've seen, just polishing and spray painting these back, so these are nice and all glossy. So I've used 2 coats of paint and 1 coat of varnish, clear varnish, and it's just to protect them from re-rusting again, and hopefully it'll do the trick. Painted this black. This goes at the back and hooks onto this guy just to prevent it from tilting forward. Come on, focus. This thing is it's kind of getting dark here, so it's having trouble focusing, but yeah, there you go, you get the idea. It's just the 2 coats of paint. Some of them were fairly, as you can see, so rusted they got pitted. The rust is actually ate into deeper in some areas than others, but overall they kind of came out okay. I might be able to correct that with just an extra coat of varnish and make it nice and glossy. And so this is all the bolts and nuts. I still have the individual little screws and things like that, but you know what, these guys, I don't mind too much buying new ones. I'll see how many of them I can actually just salvage, but it's taking a toll on my fingers. There's these guys actually that I use that sort of star hex stuff, and there's not enough of them for me to justify keeping that format, so I'm gonna just replace them with just Phillips heads like these. There's only 2 of those Phillips heads and the rest is that star stuff, but I might just buy new ones of that same size, but in that cross Phillips head. Interesting, there's only one of these guy and it actually goes into the top section. So again, I think I'll just replace that with a Phillips one, and these little guys as well. So I'll just take one of each and then see if I can find a replacement. I might be able to just salvage all these. These a bit small, they're easily replaced. This guy will have to get replaced by Phillips head. I still have to polish the bolts for the legs. I've already just dipped them in vinegar just to remove most of the rust, and it has certainly done that, but there's still a lot to remove, so I'll do this tomorrow. You can see there's still some rust on some of them. Alright, day 4 is it? Day 4, but I haven't had a chance to do much. Well, I have done some, but it's not very visible. First I cleaned those little screws, just remove the rust on them, and just a wire wheel to just to buff them and just really clean them thoroughly. It took a toll on my fingers. I've cracks and stuff everywhere, but you can't do this with gloves, unfortunately. They're too small. I didn't bother with those guys. I'm just going to replace them with these guys that I have. I have these that are very similar but slightly longer, and I had some of the same length, so I'm just going to replace those. I think there was 4. I lost one. There's these guys that go on the topper that have that star-shaped thing, and these are going to be awkward at best, and actually they were awkward to remove because some of them are rusted inside. I choose the clamp, so I'm just going to replace them with those Phillips head ones. They're a bit longer, but actually they'll do just fine. They'll go a bit deeper. If not, I can replace them with those again, but they don't look as nice. I'm gonna have to paint the top black. That's the only thing. And while I was at it, I just tried to de-rust the leg bolts as much as I can. This one doesn't look too bad, but some of them are pretty bad. They're pretty rusted. They're dirty and they're covered in WD-40, but you get the idea. They came out okay, I mean, for a rescue job, but I think because these are part of the cosmetic of the look at this. Yeah, it's not rust, it's just pitted. But these go here and secure the legs together, well, to the cab, and because they're partly cosmetic, I might just get a new set altogether. I'll see. But yeah, so that lot is good. That took a while for us to find. I didn't have to buy anything. That was cool. I had a box of just spares and bits, so I think I'm going to be able to reuse all these, replace all those, and I'll decide on these. I still have bits as well that I cleaned, and also I started cleaning the metal parts here. So I've de-rusted them. Well, I've remove all the paint that was on it, so use some paint strippers, sanding, and a bit of elbow grease. I've cleaned all those, de-rusted them, just put a coat of just metal primer on it, and I'll put a coat of black afterwards. And I still have this big piece to do, but I won't get to do that today, so hopefully tomorrow. This one is going to take a lot of sanding and work. I might see if I can get a product to de-rust them. I could use electrolysis, but I don't want to set up a whole bath for just one piece, so let's see. Alright, day 5, and got some progress here. So I got this is the top piece, just de-rusted it completely, and yeah, there was quite a lot of work to get all the rust off this. It's mostly sanding, some rust gel to get on the inside here. I can't use a vinegar bath because I don't have a whole container that big, but if you use a anti-rust gel, that'll convert it back to that black rust, and then you can sand most of it, or just use I think I used the wire wheel for the inside to get most of it done. You can see there's actually a lot of still a pitting here, but it's rust is gone, so that was good. So I got these things all now painted black. I'm going to put a clear coat on it, a few clear coats tomorrow. What else have I done? I got all the electronics off all the boards off this metal plate, and this was quite a tough one to work on, but I got all the rust off, and I've just applied there a coat of metal primer, sort of that metallic paint thing, but it acts as a metal protector and primer. I'm going to leave it like that and put another clear coat just to prevent rust from coming from the outside. But these had these little legs here as well, so the PCBs are off the board, and this is done by these guys. So I've taken all these off, dipped them in vinegar for most of the day. But just cleaning as much as I can and try to reuse most of the original parts wherever I can. Don't lose that. Some of the PCBs are at these screws because they're actually mounted on the wood directly. So there's a little plastic leg spacer, and then these are long screws. So I saved those as well. What else? What else? I think that's it. It took quite a while. Oh yeah, and also I've started I've primed the inside with a white paint. What I might do is just paint the edges that blue, but the back keep that white, keep that clear. If I need to access that, I might just keep it white up until here. Mind you, it was kind of like that. This was just barely painted here. The back was blue, but it'd be nice to make everything as clear and accessible as possible. So next I can't really do much more than that. I need to finish cleaning the thing. I'm going to reassemble the board hopefully tomorrow, but I'm waiting for the artwork, and there was a problem with the artwork. The thing I ordered actually had an issue. The glue had gone. It was just leftovers that guy had, so he's been very kind, and he's reprinting a whole set of art. Day 6 and 7, so I have completely finished this thing. I'm going to put back the all those little tabs where the boards are secured. I had a few more screws and bolts to wash that were on some of the PCB, and I've completely removed all the lights. I'm bringing those here from the board, and I'm the front board, the light board, and I'm remaking it. So because it was bent, I'm actually clamping it in two corners, just using those blocks here just to flatten it so I can draw the outline, which I have done. And while it's here, I'm just drilling or starting to mark where those holes should go. So I'm just drilling them in place. I'm going to do this here as well for all those things that take bolts and all the these guys here. So or will I just mark them? Yeah, I'll just mark where they start and where they should be. Or will I just drill? Yeah, there's probably no point in me drilling because it'll be too big, but I'll just make markers somehow. What I've done also is I've numbered them, except this one I forgot it, and I put an X at the last time, but I marked and numbered them, and just put the number back on the light here. Here they were black, so I had to use little stickers, but at least I know where they're supposed to go back, because it's a matrix, and you know, if one is out of place, it'll change the entire display, really, play field, and they won't light in the right place and that kind of stuff. So also something happened. Oof, I nearly fell. Something happened is this bit here, which is, where is it? Which is a coil, a knocker coil on the headboard, and this guy is supposed to just fly off and hit this piece here, which is a little rubber piece, but make a sound, and it's facing down so it doesn't fall, but comes in like that. But anyway, so here there should be a plate, a corner plate, and I can't for the life of me find it. It's gone. I kind of looked everywhere I could, but I just couldn't find it. Not too worried though. I have this piece of metal and I'm just going to make a new one. So I'm going to cut it, actually I'll cut this part here. I'm going to cut it here, and it comes in here. Sorry. It comes here and bolts here, so I'm going to cut about here. Drill a hole here just to guide this guy here, and should be good to go. Hopefully. But it's a bit too wide as well though, so I think you can just get away with just leaving it wide like that. Wouldn't matter too much, but at least I need to cut this bit here, drill 2 holes so it can bolt in there, and then just cut somewhere here. I'll do it properly, measure that, but I'll have to replace this bit. I just cannot find it. Luckily I didn't lose too many screws. When you're running these on the wire wheel, they have a tendency to fly off, and that's happened a few times, but I've always caught them back, so fingers crossed I have all the screws that I need. I can always replace 1 or 2, that's not a big deal, but there's just so many. Some here, some over there, some here. I try to place, arrange them in different containers per type, so at least I don't mix them and lose them too much. It's not nearly as impressive as I thought, but I mean, here there's about 30 already, so, and here there's just as many. Like I think I probably polished or just wire wheel about a good 150 bolts. These I don't know what I'll do with them, I haven't decided, but that's a long way away yet. The other thing is I actually got some paint, but it doesn't quite match. I got one of those books, and I brought photos of that paint, but it doesn't come out the same way. So I've tried a few samplers here. You can see the shade here. It's not quite the same color. I've added a bit of red just to match that blue, because either that's faded, but I'm not exactly the same blue on here and here as well. So I'd say that's faded. You can see here actually that's faded. So I don't know what to do. I think what I'll do is I'll just wait until I get the decals for here and for over there, and then I'm gonna bring one to a shop and get the color matched there as close as possible, and then be done with that. I was gonna paint the back with that blue, but if it doesn't match, I'll have to redo it. I'll have to repaint it again. I suppose I could use that blue as a primer anyway. I'll see how much paint I can get, but I'll just I need to wait until I get the decals first, and then I can decide what I want to do. Which is frustrating, because I can't put things back on until I get that blue. I suppose I could just paint that here and then start putting stuff back in. Would that make sense? No, because I need to take those corner bolts that are here when I apply the decal, and to take those off I'll have to take the board, all the board and all that kind of stuff, so I need to put those first in when I reassemble. So I can only do that when I have the decals there. So it's a bit frustrating. I'm losing a bit of time, which is why I started on this board over there, and then if they haven't arrived, I'll start making a new one and cleaning that as well. So I'll need a lot more container for all the screws, but that's okay. I've everything more or less organized now at this stage, so it's just it's a bit frustrating that I can't see any of the progress, but when it comes to putting it back together, it's going to go really fast, so look forward to that. Anyway, alright, here's the final knocker assembly thing. This goes down like that on the headboard. Why is this so dark? Maybe it's just my phone. But anyway, so yeah, I'm glad I took the time to make a new piece. Although I will probably find it once everything is done. It'll probably pop out of nowhere and be looking at me going, did you even look? But anyway, there you go. That's done. There you go. So my holes drilled wherever there should be holes drilled, and here I think it was just 2 screws, but I've marked where they should go, just to align the pieces of metal. I have the piece entirely cut here, so I'm just drilling the holes here, just using one of these guys that is the right size. I actually made a pilot hole there on this piece, just to check that it was indeed, and the light fittings just fit right. So what I'm doing is just going halfway on one side and then just going the rest of the way on the other side. If you actually just pierce away a hole through there, this is what happens. I actually didn't mean to do that. I was trying to stop halfway, but the drill actually went all the way through. So anyway, but you should get a clean hole like that. So okay, I mean I can patch this with Bondo if really I'm worried about it, which I might just do. But first I'll sand everything. I'll finish here, sand everything, patch it, whatever needs to be patched, and then we can start painting it white. I will paint it white on both sides, which wasn't the case for this guy. He was only painted on one side, but when you're painting a piece of wood, especially something like that, that creates surface tension. So actually that shouldn't be too bad, it's so thick, but it's still good practice when you paint a piece to paint it on both sides, just to get the same surface tension on either side. Anyway, I'll keep going here. There you go, this is the light box. Now I have a nice straight one compared to this old bend shape. This was is nice and straight and clean. Although if I touch it with my greasy fingers it won't stay clean for too long, but that doesn't matter too much. I've actually put back all the metal pieces here and here, just to get them out of the way for now. And the other thing here is I've cleaned all these boards and put them back on the metal plate. Cleaned this as well, just de-rusted and just cleaned them with some alcohol. I've actually spotted, which is surprising because let me see if I can use more light. No, I want more light. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I spotted a few burnt components. It says, are they caps of sorts? There's 2 here. There's one here, and God knows what burnt in this area. I actually haven't looked at what these boards do yet, any of the schematics, but I will address this last. I know the board started at some point, so I'm not too worried about the electronics, really. And it's kind of what I do on the channel, so I'm pretty confident. Now, especially after the other pinball, I'll be able to fix this, whatever it is, if there is an issue afterwards. But I'll replace these, and I'll address all this last when it comes back, to putting it back together. I got all my whatever trimmings, whatever they're called, just corner pieces, finished here, and the box. I'm still waiting for the artwork, but it's the weekend since the last segment on this guy, so I can't do much more on this part of the build until I get the artwork and I can color match the rest of them. So I've already done this, so next I'm gonna start on this guy, just taking it apart, cleaning everything, putting it back together. I know it works as well. I have a spare one of these anyway, so if it comes to it, but I'm sure this one was working and it'll work again. This, I'm not sure what to do. It's crimpled. Might be able to sort of iron it back together, but I need to detach it from there, and it's glued on. I'm not sure. I don't think repros are available because you can see this metallic thing, and it would react with those lights. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. I at least need to just clear. Look at the yellowing here. Should I retrobrite it at some point? Retrobrite only works for a while, and then it comes back. But maybe if I retrobrite it, just to give a bit more life back into the plastic, and then just spray paint it purely for cosmetic, that might work. But this, I'm not sure exactly how to get the crimpling out of it. But actually, if you know how to do that, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know how you do. I was thinking about detaching it and maybe ironing it out under a towel or something like that, but I'm not sure. The reason I'm saying leave it in the comments is because, well, I think this here is probably a good way to end the video. Good spot to end the video. It's probably way too long already at this stage. You can see I have the playfield here detached, so I'm going to actually take out the playfield, store it in another shed securely, and then I can work on the cabinet, and then I'll address the playfield afterwards. But yeah, I think this video has been going on for far too long already. So the next one, hopefully I'll have all these two guys done, and I'll be able to repopulate the headbox, put the art, and get that part of the restoration done. But folks, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for part, what is it, 2 now? 3, because the first one was discovering or showing you the pin. Anyway, stay tuned for part 3 at some point, because I'm fully into this. I thought it would take me far longer, and I'm really I really got dug in this restoration, so it might happen sooner rather than I expected. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching. Don't forget you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all these platforms. There's a Patreon if you want to head the channel, and there's a Discord server where I usually post early photos of all this stuff, and then there's a ton of folks there already. I think there's what, 140 of us now, or near that, in there, and a lot of people are DIY enthusiasts as well, so it's a good spot to chat, and it's very friendly, I have to say. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.